Piyush, cut out the awkward silence.
Welcome back to the Capital Cubing podcast. This is our second episode, and previously we were going to record our second episode with special guest Chetan Roger Dhanjal, but because of lots of technical problems, we weren't able to get that episode up yet. So that's going to be the third episode, and this time we are recording with four people in the call. So we have Saransh Grover, Shivam Bansal, Achyut Jolly, and I'm Kaustubh. And for this call, we decided to discuss some topics which we thought might be interesting to the cubers listening to this, instead of taking questions and answers from all of you.
Okay. Yes, I think that's a good introduction. I'm not sure how we're gonna start this though. I just thought we're gonna talk about what everyone else is up to. So, does anyone wanna start?
Well, the main topic we were thinking was one of the topics was how do cubers spend their time outside of cubing? Like when we have free time and we are not cubing, what else do we do? So, of course, we can't speak for all the cubers in the community, but we have four of us here, so we can get some idea. So, let's start with our most prominent and probably the one who spends the most time practicing, Shivam Bansal.
I don't think I spend the most time practicing, but it's that I've been practicing at a consistent pace for many years. Like I didn't stop tubing for 10th or 12th or anything. So I think having a consistent schedule is more important than putting in 3 continuous hours. Like I hardly cube for more than 45 minutes in one stretch, but yeah, so
But you do have all your
yeah,
multi-blind attempts, right? So each attempt will take you
yeah,
an hour or more.
yeah, but except that in multiplan it can be up to 2 hours of direct cubing because around 20 minutes for scrambling plus some analysis after the attempts. So yeah, but except multi-blind, I usually don't do big sessions a lot, but most of the time it's just deliberative practice, like improving in specific events for a few weeks and like that.
So if you don't
Yeah.
cube that much, what do you do in your free time?
In my free time, one of my favorite hobbies is astronomy. So I often like to spot satellites and planets at night, and I have a big telescope which is like almost as tall as me and weighs 20 kgs. So I use that to photograph like nebulas and I've posted some pictures on Facebook also,
Yeah, I've seen
which
some of them.
some of
They're
you must
really
have seen.
professionally
Yeah, like
taken photos.
rings of Saturn
Yeah,
and
seen
stuff.
them.
Yeah, so
Seen them.
they take like a lot of hours. Yeah, which one?
Some of them were really good.
Yeah, that in Shimla
Um,
I took. Yeah,
Recently, I saw
yeah.
that
So
that
and
house one that
usually
looked
I
like
also like
really.
photography and stuff, but uh,
Mm,
in my day to day at home I also play on consoles like PS4 and games and stuff. And I like to watch nature documentaries and stuff on TV, and of course reading. I like to read a lot. Usually I read around half an hour to an hour daily, like just random
I
novels and other books. Yeah, and like
yeah, I
general,
think
I like
gaming
to
would be a
watch
very common.
Phineas and yeah, and Phineas and Ferb also. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, gaming would be a very common
Hmm.
hobby amongst, I guess, most people of the
Yeah.
generation, not just
Yeah.
cubers.
Just because
Yeah.
cubers are like of that age where gaming is very popular. But I don't game personally. I don't game
Yeah,
as
me
much.
neither. The only gaming I do is on my
yeah, I've
smartphone,
never seen
and
that
that
happen with me too.
would be back when
I
Piano
barely ever
Tiles
game.
came out. I used to play games like that, Temple Run or Piano Tiles, or the
Uh,
Endless
I also
Runner games.
use I also
The
used
only
to
But
do
games I
that a
play.
lot. Yeah.
at this point, I only play maybe once in 2 or 3 days. I'll be bored and I'll switch on a game on my mobile like FIFA or something. And I've never even owned a console. I've just owned the old classic console where you had those big cassettes and it would
I
hook up
only
to
play
your
like
TV.
I only play
I
when
only
I'm
had that.
traveling and stuff like that, when I'm very free. But my brother plays a lot. He plays Xbox the whole time.
But is your brother a
He's
cuber as well? Does he cube?
Nope. No, he
Okay.
doesn't cube. He has no interest in cubing.
So what do you do if you don't game?
You sh-
How do you spend your free time
Uh,
apart from your studies?
in terms of hobbies, I like videography. I like reading and stuff like that. But most of the time, I'm watching movies and reading books, or just I watch a lot of movies. At least a movie a day when I'm like
Wow.
nowadays when I don't have anything. I don't have school. I don't have college. So I have a lot of free time. So I at least watch a movie a day. Maybe sometimes
Yeah.
more. Most of the times more. So yeah.
do any of you guys like watch educational YouTube channels like
Oh
Vsauce and
yes,
stuff?
yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually
Oh, wow.
have to watch them at times, even when I'm not interested, because
Yeah.
there are some concepts. Because I've taken up science, so there are some concepts I don't get in class. So
like also
I
there are a
have
lot
to
of
check them on
channels like
YouTube out
of
YouTube,
random topics
and
like physics and
otherwise,
space time and
Minute,
geography
minute
and
physics.
stuff, which are like really informative. So I also
yeah,
watch that a
yeah,
lot,
seen
and
them.
aviation videos
Yeah,
also.
I
I'm
do.
quite
I watch
interested
that a
in
lot
that.
too.
Yeah.
Do
Lately,
you
I've been
guys?
watching a lot of flat Earth videos. I don't think that counts as educational or scientific, but they're actually
That's
very fascinating to watch. People who are
You
trying
should
to explain
you should
the
watch
logic
that.
behind flat
I've
Earth.
seen those. You should watch that one. Vsauce's video is
I've
the
watched
really
Resource's
flat.
video. That was quite an
Yeah.
interesting one. But I've
Yeah.
watched channels which are solely dedicated to explaining the flat
Yeah.
Earth.
I've seen a
So
couple
for
of
some
those
reason, it's
videos
been
and I like
fascinating me for
can't
a
stand
while.
them. Yeah.
I watch CGP Grey a lot.
Yeah, I also
Have you
watched
guys
that.
heard of him?
I have
Yeah,
heard
I'm
of
a
that.
big fan. I've at World Championship I met Matt Parker. Do any of you guys know him?
Stand up
No.
Matt, right?
Yeah, stand-up match. Yeah, I met him. I got a selfie.
He's a-
When
yeah.
I took a picture with him. Then he said, "Can I get a selfie with you?" When I told him about my multi-blind.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's so great.
I also listen to Hello Internet. Yeah,
Yeah, Hello Internet is one of my favorite podcasts.
yeah.
Do you
I
guys
listen to it mostly while cubing. Yeah.
do you guys know who Stand Up Matt is? Like except for Shivam.
I think I've seen some videos
not me.
which were
Yeah.
of stand-up maths.
He's
And
actually
I think it was someone from Capital Cubing who recommended him.
Yeah.
he actually recently uploaded a 20-minute interview with Felix, which was really
Yeah,
cool.
yeah,
And
I saw him.
and he makes a lot of like Rubik's Cube based videos. He made a video on the UK Championship and stuff like that. And
Oh, is he a
Yeah.
Britisher?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
he's
think
a
I saw his
Britisher.
interview with Alex Lau after the Euros 2014. I think he did an interview with him. I only know that because someone posted it on the Facebook group for Rue Solvers.
He's a
Interview
pretty
with
cool.
Alex.
He's a pretty cool YouTuber. I recently started watching a lot of his videos.
Like, I watch a lot of YouTube videos in my free time, but that's not while I'm not cubing. That's specifically while I'm cubing. I often
Oh,
play
okay.
YouTube videos in the background for background noise.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
does that
that's
help
fun.
Oh.
Is
I
that
mean, videos which I've
Often
watched before, not
watch-
videos which I haven't seen yet. But if I've seen a video and I know it's got a lot of talking in it, somehow background talking always helps me cube better than pure silence. It
Yeah.
also gives me a feeling of
Even
a
I
competition
sometimes
because
switch
there's a
on.
lot of noise at a competition. So playing a video which has got lots of people talking in it, it makes it much more comfortable for me.
that reminds me, I recently, like before US Nationals and all that stuff, I saw this video of Chris Olsen where he gives tips on big competitions. He's like, use your stack mat and use 2 timers, like CS timer and then CS timer on incognito or something, so that it can give you like 8 and 12 as inspection. And basically he plays ambient noise in background. There's this thing called ambient noise.
I saw
It's
that
pretty
video.
cool. I actually
Like
used it and
crowd
it
noise.
helped me a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually very, very significantly.
And on YouTube, we have up to 5 hours of background noise. I didn't
Yeah, there are
expect
videos
that.
which are just background noise
Yeah.
for many hours.
Just
altogether.
background noise. That's pretty.
Like there's a video I saw which was like 10 hours of raining noise. Like when it rains outside, it makes a pleasant sound. So you can like play that for 10 hours.
I once watched 3-hour
cool.
loop of Nyan Cat while cubing.
Yeah.
And that was
Okay, so
actually a pretty good session. I didn't cube for the entire 3 hours, but these things exist on YouTube, so it makes it a lot. It gives a big variety to choose from while cubing.
Do you
I
guys know
actually,
about number file?
While
yeah,
Yes.
number 5. Number 5.
never heard
Okay,
about
it's
that.
Number
a
5.
pretty famous maths
You've
channel. Yeah.
you've almost certainly watched a video of him, even though you don't know who he is.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
as
it's
many people may not be doing this yet, but the point of this podcast is also to give many cubers something to listen to while they are cubing.
yeah.
So
True.
hopefully this
We're
is helping some
actually,
cubers do this, cubing or coding or
yes.
anything
Yeah,
else which will help in
listening to
background.
podcast while cubing is like really good. I do that quite often.
Yeah, I
So
listen to
if
podcasts while cubing too.
the person who is listening to this right now is solving a cube, then good luck and
We
hope you get a
we
PLL
hope that
skip.
you get a good time. Yes,
We
PLL
hope you
skip.
get a
You're gonna
PLL
get a
skip.
PLL
Yeah.
skip.
Unless you're doing pyramids, then you
May you
get
get a CMLL skip.
You may get
yeah.
that in a pyramid
Yeah,
session.
you can get a 6 mover in pyramids.
Shivam's gonna be
Yeah.
like, oh, you can do that OLL case in a different way. It's much better.
Yeah. Like do that ZBLL. Why are you doing OLL? Like that.
But I did get some feedback on one of our podcasts, which was Hemang, who was listening to it not while cubing but while coding.
But
And
yeah.
apparently it helped him a lot. That he said it was great to
Yeah,
listen
he
to while
told
he
that
was
to me
coding
too.
for an
Yeah,
hour.
he told me.
So
I'm not
maybe
sure
maybe
if I
this can
can do
expand to
that.
other fields, not just while cubing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe.
May your code doesn't get any errors.
Oh, that's a big wish. But I don't think
Yeah.
anyone can write a long code without any errors.
That's probably the best feel like
Yeah.
one can ever go through.
It's
So,
true.
do you guys think? Here's my question. Do you guys think that listening to stuff while cubing is helpful in terms of like getting faster and getting better times and and improving? Because
Definitely.
do you think so?
I think
If not just about along with cubing, I often see when I watch videos like Sayo the King's US Nationals or maybe something like that, Laser Monkeys World's videos, they're quite inspiring. So usually I'm not like really very thrilled to cube, but once I watch those videos, I'm really willing to solve, and my TPS suddenly shoots up like something. So listening along might help as well, but that's something just about me.
Oh, but
Yeah.
I've been thinking about this recently because I watch a lot of like when I'm cubing, most of the time I'm watching a movie or watching a TV show or listening to something, and now I've started to realize that I'm just wasting time by doing that because I'm not focusing on speed solving. I'm just doing it
Oh.
just for fun.
I think of that as the opposite. I think that I'm like multitasking, so I'm like getting extra time. Like I'm learning about
Yeah, I
some
think the
stuff,
same.
like if I learn to a podcast and also improving in cubing.
Like for me, it depends on my mood. Like while cubing, sometimes I want to play music in the background, but sometimes I don't want any noise. Like there are times when I decide, okay, I want to do really slow turning, but the music going on is going to pump me up and it will make me want to have a much higher TPS. Then I'll just switch everything off and just do cubing for some time. So for me, it's totally
Yeah,
mood
yeah.
dependent. In different moods, I get better times with a
Yeah.
different background.
Same for me. Sometimes I get good times with music and sometimes without. Usually I listen to podcasts or sometimes even soundtracks of good films.
Yeah, even I mostly
Yeah.
listen to podcasts along with cubing.
Yeah, but soundtracks are also really good. You should try. Like Interstellar soundtrack is one of my favorites.
Yeah, that one's really good.
Hmm.
I've never
Yeah.
tried it with cubing though.
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah.
So coming back to our main topic was how do you spend your hours when you're not cubing?
Hmm.
Oh,
So Shivam, we
Yes.
know about you, which is photography and astronomy and lots of
Yeah.
reading. And Saransh answered as well. So Achyut, what about you?
okay, so I've just got into 11th grade, so I won't say I have much time these days. But since I'm into cubing since I was in 9th, so I can mention about those 2 years. So I was into a lot of things. I was into paintings. drawing and painting stuff as well. I was decently good at it, but I had to leave it somehow. So yeah, cubing is really addictive. That made me leave that, and I used to play guitar as well. And mostly I listened to, when I was free, I listened to comedy. Like I listened to Kenny Sebastian's videos. Those were really good.
Oh,
Yeah,
stand-up comedy. Some of the Indian stand-up
Uh,
comedy is really good these days.
yeah. Kenny Sebastian is like really, really good. Makes me.
I haven't
I
watched much
recently
of Kenny
saw.
Sebastian, but I watched a lot
I,
of Zakir Khan and
Abhishek
Abhishek
Upmanu was great.
Upmanu, and their stand-up
Yeah.
comedy is great too.
And nowadays,
I recently
I
saw Veer Das had this comedy special thing on Netflix, and it was absolutely amazing. I liked it a lot. I don't know if you guys have seen it.
No, I've never used
I
Netflix
haven't.
in my life.
Same. Yeah. Have you?
Yeah, so
Wait,
Do you guys
but it's
follow
really good. I
cricket?
suggest it. No, I
follow
I
yeah, I do.
don't follow
I forgot to
sports at
mention.
all.
I
I
used to play cricket till uh, really actively till almost the beginning of 11th standard. I devoted more than half of my time to cricket, but
I
now it's been a bit difficult to cope up with studies and all that stuff. But I used to play cricket really intensely till like a
I
while back.
also used to. I also played cricket a lot till around 2011 or something when I started cubing more. And it wasn't because of cubing, it was because I didn't have any place to play cricket anymore. So yeah, but I also really like to
Yeah,
play it when I
sports
get
is
the
fun.
chance
Like
nowadays.
it's that
Yeah.
even I used to.
I also play
I
table
was
tennis
in
a
the
lot
school
with
team.
my sister. Yeah,
I used to play a lot of table tennis once upon a time.
yeah,
I, I,
yeah.
I, the only sport I play is badminton, and I am pretty serious about it. But I don't really follow sports that much. I think it's very stupid
Badminton
to follow
also I
sports.
play. Yeah,
It's just I just don't like following sports that much. It's just
Oh,
a waste of time, in my opinion. A lot of people will disagree with me, but
I
it's
mean,
a
a
waste
lot
of
of
time,
people
in my
follow
opinion.
cubing, right? Do you follow cubing records and cubing competitions?
Right? Yeah. So I mean,
So it's
sports.
essentially the
the,
same
the,
thing except with sports. It might take a lot more
ex-
time if you want to watch a
I
match,
mean,
but
I don't.
following
Yeah,
the
exactly.
statistics is barely takes any time.
Yeah. I don't mind following statistics, but I just find watching something for watching a cricket match or watching a football match or something like that is
Actually,
just a waste of time.
no.
Unless you're actually in the
Actually,
stadium and watching it,
watching in the
that makes
stadium
a
is
difference.
not that good of an experience. So I
yeah. Sometimes it might a
yeah,
change, but I wouldn't
and
want to watch every match like that because you
as I
can't really
mentioned, I
see
used to
much.
play cricket, and I was into what you might call professional cricket till class 11, and watching these sports, especially if those 5 days match, which actually people think of are quite boring, we get to learn quite a lot from them. Like the temperament we get the player, how they
Yeah, I
react to
also used
situations
to
and all
watch
that,
test
and
matches.
that's really
Yeah.
helpful. Even in not still in other stuff as well, but we really get to quite a lot of stuff from that.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
I also think that did any of you guys see the Olympics last time? It
A
was
little
Yeah,
bit, not
I
a
did.
lot.
I
you
did.
know you know I
Not
watched
all of
the
it.
I watched almost most of it because I just turned on the TV in the morning, then I just like cubed a bit and then like saw in the middle
I
the
basically
scores and
just
schedule and stuff.
looked for
Yeah, so I like
schedule of
vaguely followed
India's
it throughout the
events, and
Olympics.
then because all of it actually becomes a bit boring. Yeah,
Hmm.
I read that in some Facebook post, I guess.
Do you guys yeah. Do you guys know next week there's a solar eclipse in America?
Oh, is it going to be more interesting than a
Yeah.
normal
Yeah, I
You know,
solar
read
I've
that
like
eclipse?
too. I
If you
read
could,
that too.
I've known about it since 2 years, but I can't go obviously. But it's still cool.
oh,
It's the first total solar eclipse that's only hitting the U.S. mainland in about 99 years. So
Wow.
and it'll last I think around 7 minutes in its biggest spot. Totality will last around 3 minutes for a ground
Wait,
observer, but
wait. What date is
uh,
it? What date is it at?
it's 21st August. and it
Oh
will
my
like
God.
touch down at Portland or something.
I'm
Portland,
literally
then it will.
leaving for. I'm literally leaving
Yeah.
on the 22nd
You
from
no,
India.
but you from if you live in New York or something, you won't be able to see it in totality. You need to be on like a 70-kilometer long line across the US to see that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
there's a two fighter pilots type thing. They're going to use a plane to follow the shadow, so they're going to have totality for 7 minutes, as opposed to everyone's 2 minutes.
That's
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
yeah. So it's actually pretty significant because it's USA. So like, if a total solar eclipse happens over Indonesia or something, like it doesn't get that much attention, but
Yeah.
the USA
Hmm.
one is getting a lot of media coverage and stuff.
That's pretty cool. I
Yeah,
didn't know about
Yeah.
that.
I'm looking forward to videos of that because I can't see it in person. But videos, there will be a lot of videos this time because like thousands of people will be traveling for that.
Well, now
Yeah.
that we have
Even
got
I'd
so
like to
much
have a
live,
look.
Facebook Live,
Hmm.
Instagram Live, you might
Yeah,
actually watch it
yeah.
happen as it's happening.
Yeah, and the last time it happened like that, this in USA in like 99 years back, like there wouldn't have even been electricity or something. So yeah,
Oh yeah, certainly there
Yeah.
would have been no
True.
recording.
So this is
or maybe
so
electricity
you
as
can
well.
call this the first major technologically provided solar eclipse.
In mainland
I mean,
USA.
in mainland, yeah, in the states basically.
Yeah.
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 That's pretty good. Okay.
Hmm.
So should we move on to what else
Yeah.
were we planning to talk about?
Oh, I
I
never
totally
talked about my
forgot now.
hobbies.
Oh, yeah, costume. Okay. What are your hobbies,
So-
costume? Except for watching the Emoji Movie
Except for watching the
pineapples.
emoji movie.
and eating
Well,
pineapples.
you just took out the biggest chunk of my life, Saransh. Saransh and I were recently we watched the emoji movie with a few other people.
We were
and-
privileged enough to watch it.
Yes, and that actually came out of the fact that we follow the same YouTuber who has been, I guess you can call it promoting the emoji movie for over 7 months now. So
I mean,
watching
Yes.
YouTube, that's a big part of what I do in a lot of my free time. But my other major hobby apart from cubing has been magic. Many cubers would know that. And
Yeah.
surprisingly,
Yes.
I found there are a lot of cubers who are also into magic.
yeah.
This-
So there
I
are
found
these
this
hobbies like out of nowhere. There are these couple of hobbies that most cubers are into. I don't know what's up with like how maybe they have some correlation, but magic is one of them. And then there's like most cubers
Video
are
making.
video. I mean, is that really a hobby, or is that just people trying to
the-
get famous?
The number of cubers with YouTube channels is pretty high.
Yeah.
But the number of human beings with YouTube channel is also pretty high. So like
Yeah, that might just be a very
You-
popular thing and not specific.
you
YouTubers.
guys know
Yeah.
Abhay Agarwal also used to do magic.
Yeah, I know. Shivam, you used to do magic
Yeah,
as well, didn't
yeah,
you?
yeah. I also, well, I liked magic, but I didn't like have a channel or anything. I just like did it for my friends and their family.
I used to do magic. I remember doing magic.
Even I was
but I
interested
was
in
so
it.
terrible at it. I cringe
Yeah,
now
so
when I
all of
watch
us
those
in
Same,
this
videos.
same.
podcast right now have been interested in
Even
magic
I
at
got
some point.
interested in magic and got what do you call that? A deck of cards, right?
Yeah.
I got that and tried my hand at it, showed it to a couple of people, and they were all like, "Bro, you can't even do anything." So I had to quit that ultimately.
I think everyone in their lifetime have got interested into magic in some way or the other.
Yeah.
It's just a
Have
very
you-
fascinating thing.
Yeah, it's
The
addictive.
only magic
Yeah.
trick I think I've done successfully, partially successfully, would be that sticking a piece of paper on your thumb and you just lift it off and it seems to have vanished into thin air. But that soon became common among everyone, and they knew about how that happens.
Yeah. Have anyone
Speaking-
of you tried
No,
speed
not me.
stacking?
Never.
Right? What?
Speed stacking. No.
Yeah.
I've never
You know,
tried that.
interesting fact about me, I used to do cup stacking before I learned how to solve a cube. Like
Oh yeah, I
in
knew.
two-
Wow.
I think I've heard that from
I
you.
think
In
I knew that
2000
too, yeah.
Yeah, in 2010, I like searched some videos and I asked my dad to get a speed stacking set from America. So I used to do that for around a year before I stumbled into
Do you
cubing.
have like a speed stacking account, like a WCID? I think they have some kind of ID
I
too.
I'm not sure, but I haven't participated in that because there are no
Okay.
competitions
Okay.
here. Yeah,
Because
yeah, but
recently
I'm interested in that. Yeah.
someone on a Facebook group came up with this list of people who have both done speed stacking and are good at it, and done cubing and are good at
Hmm.
it. So like the
You,
top
you know,
person is combining your
yeah.
ranks and then finding the average
You
or
know
something like that.
an interesting fact that William Orell, who is like the Felix Zemdegs of speed stacking, like he holds almost every record. He
That's
knows
great.
about cubing and he can even solve a cube blindfolded.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
That's
man,
pretty cool.
it's like Felix Zemdegs being able to stack cups fast, kind of like that. Yeah.
You never know,
So,
maybe he can.
So is
maybe
speed
he can.
stacking as big as speed cubing now? The speed stacking
I think
community
cubing
and
is
the number of
bigger.
I've
competitions?
never had
I mean,
a chance to um, have a peek into the speed stacking community. I know never about
That's
nothing about it.
there's an interesting thing that the cycle, which is the like main thing of speed stacking, like 3x3 single, has been almost same as speed cubing single since like many years. Like as the 3x3 single has gone below 5, just a few weeks later the speed stacking also got like 4.8 or something. So
wow.
almost the cycle record and 3x3 single records are same.
I just feel like the only reason I don't like speed stacking is it's just doing the same thing again and again, isn't it? Just doing this. It's like magic.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like you just repeat some things and there's no real like difference in your solves other than just how well you execute it. It's like doing a 4 mover on a 2x2 again and again.
Yeah,
For
exactly.
me,
That's just
slowly CFOP became similar to that, which is why I switched from CFOP because it became very repetitive. To be honest.
Yeah,
I
but in
don't think so.
CFOP
No,
there's a
CFOP.
lot of like
C,
free FOP and lot of
Yeah, there are a lot of
innovation to be
variations
made.
now, but most of the variations would involve learning more algorithm sets, for example. Like you learn
so then how
linear
is
variation or
wait?
ZBLL.
Then how
So
Like
I just got
multi-slotting.
bored of that after some time.
then how is
You can
Ru not repetitive? Aren't all methods repetitive in a way? Because you just do the same thing again and again.
I've been using Roo for over a year and a half now, I think, or just about a year and a half. And I'm still finding new ways to make blocks which I've never found before. And
Yeah,
I'm still
but
finding new ways of solving the last 6 edges, which
I
aren't algorithm dependent. They're not cases which I didn't learn before. They're just more ways to execute something which is purely intuitive. Like in F2L, sure, people find more ways to solve particular pairs, but those become like algorithms because you can't see it clearly. Like someone will tell you that
Yeah,
this set of moves will solve this pair efficiently, but it's very hard to
Yeah,
discover it by yourself. But
makes sense.
with a year and a half of
I'm
Brew,
sure you would
I'm
have
still
seen
discovering a
Kian
lot.
Mansoor's walkthrough solves,
I have
Yes.
watched Kian Mansoor's walkthrough solves.
and I watched that, and it was really fascinating to see how like he came up with blocks which I thought couldn't even like I couldn't have thought of making blocks out of the pieces he did. Like it was really awesome.
Yeah, so that's why so far Roo hasn't gotten repetitive for me, and of course I still haven't learnt full CMLL. I've learnt a few sets. I've deliberately held off on that to
Go
avoid
ahead, that's like easy.
getting
You
it
can go
to
ahead and
become
do that.
boring. Yeah, it's easy and it's also helping me with 2x2 because many of the CMLL cases are the same as CLL
you
cases.
know
Yeah,
for me
yeah.
it's inverse. I know a lot of CMLLs because of 2x2. So
Yeah,
I
a lot
think
of
I
people
know
do that,
Yeah.
but
basically every CMLL now, but
but there
some
will
of
be some
them are bad
CLL
algs.
some
Yeah,
CLL algorithms will actually, if you execute
destroy
them for
the first.
CMLL, you will
Yeah,
mess up a few of the edge pieces.
yeah.
Anyway, I guess we should move on now.
Yeah,
Well,
like
the other topic we
did
had
I?
thought about discussing was about
About
the
the cubing
cubing
community, if I'm
community.
not wrong.
Correct. About, well, I think many of us have been part of the community for maybe more than 4 or 5 years now.
I think I joined back in 2013. So yeah, it's been 4 years for me.
So So you joined back in 2013, so you were part of it before?
No. I joined in
Back,
2013.
like
I mean,
2013 was long back.
Oh,
Like,
I
okay. I
learned-
thought you joined back after a sabbatical.
I mean, I learned to solve the cube a long time ago, way before 2013. But then I didn't know about WCA and all that stuff back then.
Yeah,
I did-
Yeah,
something
that.
similar
When did
happened
you
with
learn
me.
it?
I've been so the first time I learned to solve a cube was, if I'm not wrong, in October 2012. Then I had to quit cubing in a very what you might think a stupid reason, because I somehow dropped my cube from the balcony, and that was the end of cubing
Wow.
for me. I didn't feel like getting a new cube because it was getting really boring, because I hadn't gotten into CFOP much, and it was all like really boring. So I thought of quitting it up, and then in 2014 I saw someone in my bus solving a Rubik's cube, and I sort of remembered I used to do it too. So I got a new Rubik's brand then, and continued again, and I've been continuing since ever, and it's been really good.
It's my story is very similar to what happened to me. Was back when I was maybe in 5th or 6th grade, a lot of my friends started cubing, so I bought a cube and I started cubing too. But then I moved. So in 7th, I think I moved schools in 7th, so I stopped because no one over there was cubing, and I used like the very bad Rubik's brands.
I used that for.
I didn't
since,
have a
like,
street
ever.
cube
I
or
used
something like
used
that.
forever.
I think all of us would have started. All of us
Yeah.
would have started on a Rubik's brand or
Yeah,
one
yeah.
of the other local local
Yeah.
cubes,
The
not
first-
speed cubes.
But then
there was
The
one I
first
used to
Rubik's
use
cube I
called
ever
the
bought
Hishu
was
cube.
Yeah.
it was quite back when I bought a cube and then lost all hopes when it was when I was about 6 year old. We had been to some tourist destination, and I saw a Rubik's cube for the first time and bought that for 30 rupees, which is like 1 by 50 times of what a modern speed cube could cost. So yeah.
Yeah, true. Anyway, so basically what happened with me was, I think in 8th grade, one of my seniors came up to me and he was like, I had told my friends back then that I knew how to solve a cube, and I'd solved it like a couple times. So one of my friends came up to me and was like, not one of my friends, one of my seniors. He was like, you know how to solve a Rubik's cube? And I was like, yes. So he told me that there was this competition coming up at Bluebell School, and one of the events was solving a Rubik's cube. So he wanted me to
Was
go
that
with him.
Virus 2013?
Yeah. That
I was
virus
at that
competition.
That was my first competition. An
No way,
unofficial
same.
Wow,
Yeah,
so
that,
we
that
might
was
have
an
been
that
at
was
the
an
same
unofficial
competition back then.
We probably were. I don't know who won, but the winner at that time had like a 20-second average. So yeah, but this is back in 2013. So 20-second was good back then, at least
Yes,
in India.
Virus 2013. I was at that competition with my friend.
Yes.
That was my first ever Rubik's Cube competition. And
You
back
know,
then, I was solving in around 25 seconds.
You know, I first came across the cube. Like everyone I know, like almost everyone has like seen any friends or maybe seen someone solving the cube. But for me,
Yes.
it was around almost 2 years before I saw someone other than me
even
solving a
I
cube
never
for
saw
the first
someone
time
apart
before.
from me solving the
Yeah.
cube. I had to go on.
Yeah,
I was
I've never
curious
seen
and
any.
I had to go on to YouTube
Yeah, so-
to search for it.
Yeah, so I was in Dubai with my family in around October 2010 when my mother bought a cube for me from a Toys R Us. So I just learned Dan Brown's method to solve it, and then I attended Shastra 2011 in Chennai, which was my first comp. And it was Kesava Kirupa's also first comp, but I didn't know him back then. So I averaged around 50 seconds, and I saw some person doing it in 16 seconds. So I was like really amazed. I couldn't even believe that you could. I was just like awestruck by him. So, but I thought that it's very difficult to learn CFOP and stuff. And I knew about CFOP, but I thought it was really difficult. So I didn't even try to learn it.
Even I
Then I like then I got bored of it for around just left it for around 2-3 years and started doing other things until one of my cousins came to my house one day. So I dug out my cube from my cupboard to show him that I can solve it. Then so I had it out, so I just googled which is the fastest method for Rubik's cube. So CFOP came up and I just learned it and I started again.
Costume is angry.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say Ru is the fastest method because basically statistically there are so many people using CFOP, so there are so many faster people using CFOP as well.
Yeah.
But I think it was Felix who was wondering in a blog post, I think it was, or it was on his website, that how the community would have been different if it was Ru centric rather than CFOP centric. He had made a small paragraph on that, which was an interesting thought. That how different would cubing be today, and what would be the average world records?
I think the single won't be that better than average.
I don't get triggered when people say that Ru isn't the fastest method.
Isn't Ru more consistent than CFOP in terms of getting like times that are closer to your actual average? You don't
For
get
me, it is.
Yeah,
Like
so I think
there isn't a lot of variation between your best average of 5 and your average of 12 and your average of maybe 50. Will be more or less close. Of
that's
course,
not the case for
you can
CFOP.
get lucky solves in Ru as well. You can skip CMLL or you can get very easy blocks. But for me, I found that most of them are closer to each other than they were in CFOP for me.
Yeah. So I think the single would be much closer to the average in terms of the single. If right now the average is 5.9, the single would probably be 5.2 or 5.3.
Well, Kian recently got a sub 4 single.
Yeah, saw the reconstruction of that as well.
Yeah, I saw
it was
that.
really crazy.
3.9, I think.
The solve was.
Sub 4 on camera.
And did he plan both his first and second block in the inspection itself?
It wasn't on camera.
No, it wasn't on camera. I saw the reconstruction, I guess.
He reconstructed.
He just reconstructed it on camera.
Oh, okay. I saw a link, so I thought that might have been a video link.
And around the same time, Felix got a 3.01 while practicing at Worlds.
3.01?
Yeah, sheer X's.
Wow, never heard of that.
3.01
is crazy.
Like, I think 2.97 is the UWR. I'm not sure if that's legit or not, but...
Interesting thing about that sub 4 with Rudo was that Kian actually used a very bad CMLL algorithm.
I saw.
And
it was like...
they were discussing that why did you use that? So he said he freaked out at the timing of that solve. But it led
M2,
to
I guess.
an M2 for last 6 edges. So it worked out for him. But then someone said that even using the standard alg would have gotten him the same last 6 edges. So it's possible it could have been faster, but that algorithm worked for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes you end up using algs that are just more easily flowable. Like, even though I know the I think it's the JA perm. I don't know which one. I know the
bad
the bad one. Yeah, the bad one. Yeah, but I almost
4 algs for that.
At competitions, I almost always end up using the lefty way of doing it normally, because that just flows better for me. Even though I'm pretty sure that the RUL one is much faster.
No,
the lefty way of doing it.
I mean, I use that alg when I am doing BLD because I still use OP, and that
I'm like quite sure the fastest JA perm is the one Lucas showed on his channel. It was, if someone saw it, goes something like R2F, something like that. It's really fast.
Yeah. I use it sometimes if there's no AUF.
I guess it's my main alg now. I mostly use the RUL one in big cubes. On 3x3 I just...
Yeah. I use the RUL one almost all the time, but around 20% of the time if there's no UF and I'm in a good position, I just do the Lucas Setter one.
I've never actually used multiple algs for different angles when I used to use
I think I only do that for... I only do that for U-perms.
And I did it for OLL. I did that for a few OLLs which I knew. But somehow I never got it for PLL.
I'm a lot into predicting and forcing CP solved in OLLs. Like some OLLs I know which if I 2-look it's just a little slower, but you can force CP solved instead of NPerm or something. There's a good way to learn this. Like people like Jaden McNeil or Felix use these kind of tricks a lot in their solves. So just like watching their lots of example solves, you can come across some of these.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think we've managed to deviate a lot from
Yeah.
the topic which we were going to get into, which was the cubing community in India.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
And we
Where have
started
where are we
Definitely.
going with this?
we started
We have
from
to.
how did
Okay.
we get into cubing
Yes.
Okay.
individually.
Are we talking about specifically
I mean, we can
I
talk
think
about
for
it in
India?
general too. If you guys have seen Cube Roll's videos, Cube Roll is a YouTube channel on the.
Yeah. Yeah. I really like
Those are
his
very good
videos.
videos. Yeah, his videos.
Yeah.
His videos are pretty cool. It's
We
basically
should
I have
link.
seen.
We should link it in the show notes.
yeah, we will.
I've
It's
never watched
basically
anything by him.
it's like the change of records over time and how and
Yeah.
who came before whom. He just makes a very it's very graphically amazing. It's
Yeah, and it's
interesting.
like beautiful music and
Okay.
visually good.
Somewhat like the one that Rubik's Cube Fan Nation
Yeah.
Oh,
stuff.
I've
yeah,
watched
but
Rubik's
he-
Cube Fan Nation.
Uh,
I watched videos from Rubik's Cube Fan Nation, which
Yeah,
was
yeah.
the list of all world records
You
one
know,
after the other.
after a lot of like waiting, I finally got into one of Cube Roll's videos.
For what? Multiply?
Oh,
His,
for-
yeah,
for-
no,
for
it's
Summer
his
Franks, I
latest
think.
one.
For-
Yeah,
for-
like
for
the
Summer
history
Franks.
of top 10 all-rounded cubers.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I assumed it would be for MBLD,
cool.
but he hasn't made one of it yet. Yeah.
Yeah.
So back when I
And-
got into the speed cubing community, I wasn't really aware that there is such a thing in the first place.
Hmm.
I always thought that there are very few people who actually solve Rubik's cubes in India. And then when I found out about my first competition, of course, as everyone else, I joined the community after that. So
What was
back
your first
then,
competition cost of like officially?
officially, it was the one you organized, NCRO 2014.
Oh wow.
I was at that. Yeah.
That was my
You
first
know-
official competition.
You know, I remember seeing your, like, you post something on SCIU around that time in 2014, and I, like, saw your, like, face, like, profile picture which had some face paint or something on it. And I
Me?
just saw, no, Costa, yeah. He had,
Yes, that was actually
Oh yeah, Costa
we were
was
coming back from
Yeah.
from a school trip, and my friends thought it would be a great idea to put kajal makeup on everyone's faces, but somehow they didn't get around to doing it to everyone. I was their only victim. I don't remember why I made it my profile picture, but I did.
I remember I remember that was
Wow.
very, very significant of costume. Like that was your profile picture for a very long time.
That might have just been because I didn't bother changing it. There was nothing special for that picture to stay my profile picture for a long time.
Saransh, you remember you judged me in Scube at NCRO 14, and I almost got
I-
the Scube and a single. I'm not sure
I
if you
remember
Yeah.
remember that. Yes, I
Yeah,
remember
I
that.
had like a 4 move layer, I think, and then I got a U-perm. So
Yeah,
national
I
record
remember
was,
that.
I think, like 5 seconds at the time, and I was on U-perm at like 2 or 1. But it was the Lennon's Cube era, so I logged up a lot and didn't get a single. So I missed Cube and a single at NCRO, and then the previous comp, which was Mumbai Summer Open, I got the same 4-move layer and U-perm, and I again messed it up. So I had missed Cube and a twice, so it was the closest event in which I had got it to an NR. And then 3 months later, I broke the Cube single, same thing, 4-move layer U-perm. So I
So
like third
talking
time
about
lucky.
Scube,
Yeah.
Scube record at SNU, something stupid happened with me. So I got a scramble that is actually you might call it a fair, not a fair, a legal scramble, but that was really stupid, and I almost knew it was a miscramble, but it was really fun while it happened. So I got a sledge to a sledge, and that was all it was, and it was 1 point something, and like kids started jumping, and I was trying to tell them it's nothing. I was sure it was a miscramble, because
Yeah.
you won't get such a scramble. Like
I remember at one of
what
my
might have happened. Yeah.
at one of my recent comps, someone got a 2-move cube scramble.
Or two
Yeah.
moves.
It was like a 2-move solution.
What I guess might have happened in such cases is, while the cube is in the boxes ready to get scrambled, some people have that urge of picking up a random cube and trying to feel it, and might have left
Yeah,
it
yeah,
that
that
way,
happens,
and the runner saw that, and
Yeah,
just that happened.
that happens. Anyway, let's talk about progression in the Indian community.
Yeah, so
Uh,
I'll tell you one thing. Like when in 2013, I didn't know about SCIU. I didn't know there was a community. I just saw, like, I knew that Akash Upela held the NR and stuff, but I didn't know anything about him. So then when I posted something on the speed solving forums, I joined it in 2013 in the end. So Kunal Parekh replied to my post. He said that you if you are on Facebook, you should join this group, Speed Cubing India Unlimited. So I just joined it and I posted my first post on it was 27 point something average of 5 3 by 3, and then I posted a video and Akash Upela commented on it, so I was really happy that, like, I was a big fan of him. So I was like, and then
Everyone has been. Everyone
yeah
has.
yeah yeah
guys,
I almost took
remember
his
back when
autograph at SCMU 2014.
guys remember back when Akash Rupela was good at stuff.
Yeah, he's still good.
I mean, he's
It's just
comparatively
that
very slow now. Like most people have
Yeah, in comparison
surpassed
to.
him.
Yeah,
You should
relatively,
see
maybe he's been
In
left
comparison to the speed at which the community is growing and more people are getting faster and faster, he's
no,
still quite the
no,
same.
see, he's like focusing on his things on other things like organizing and delegating and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
He has
I
had
But
his like
Akash
run
Rupela
of
is
yeah.
one of the legendary names from Indian speed cubing. Like there are few names
Yes.
which stand out, which would include Akash definitely.
Yeah, 100%. I remember back when I started cubing, he had all national records, almost all of them, at least like
Yes.
all N by N except for 2x2.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think
I,
when it was my first competition and I saw that Akash Rupela is the delegate, I was really excited because I had known for a while he's the national record holder, and I was quite surprised that he's going to be at the competition. And I remember asking, I either messaged him or I messaged one of the organizers that does the WCA delegate also participate in the competition, because I had no idea about that.
hmm.
So basically, I was going through the site sheet. Well, I don't think it's a site sheet. I was clicking on each name on the registered list to see how fast is everyone and where
Yeah,
am I
I've
going to
done that.
place.
I know that feel. I've done that.
I did that
I
for the
still,
first few
I still do that
competitions.
at times.
I
You
now
can
I
just use
only
a
do that
site
for
sheet
the
now.
event I really care about. Back then, I only did 3x3. That was the only event I took part in. Even though I knew how to solve other cubes, 2x2, 4x4, but that's all I knew. There were other events also which I could have done like one-handed, but for some reason I chose to only participate in 3x3.
You know
My
I was when I had my third comp, which was Ruby Quest in February 2014. I was
Oh,
still
that
very
was my
new back
first
then.
comp. That
Yeah,
was my first
yeah,
comp.
that was my third comp. So in that I remember I was checking the site sheet just to see who everyone was coming, and I saw Shubham Kumar's account. So I was thinking like he's really fast, and then I thought like I'll just click a random person with my eyes closed and like see what are his times just to get a feel for what the average person is getting. So I just closed my eyes. I randomly clicked on a person, and that person was Piyush Passi, who is our editor for this podcast. So I
Yes.
just saw his times, and then I met him in person also, and I also met Sukant Kaul and Jitin Prakash. So I hung out with those people at the comp, and and then I remember I was doing MBLD then, and I was talking to Shubham Kumar. I was also impressed by him because he was also quite fast in some events like 5x5 and stuff. So I was we both were attempting 2 out of 2 cubes, and we both got 1 out of 2, so which was DNF at the time because there was a lot of music playing outside, and I
Oh
saw
Okay,
yeah.
one
Vikram
out of
Marda.
two
He was
DNF.
sitting behind me. Yeah, so he got 6 out of 9, and I think I saw him attempting 9 cubes, so I was really impressed. Like he was doing almost like 4 times the cube as me. So yeah, I remember
Yeah.
people were clapping for my 3BLD. They were clapping during the round itself, but luckily no one was solving, so it's okay.
Ruby Quest was famous for music being played outside.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
so was
it's
Maths of
still
2014 or no 2015? I think
2015.
Maths of
Not
No,
also
Match Up.
has music.
I think it was basically most DTU comps had this problem.
No,
but it's still quite memorable for me because it was my first
Yeah.
daily comp. Yeah.
Ruby Quest was my first comp ever, and I was totally hooked after it. Like I started so So basically, I went to RubyQuest, and then the next month I went to MathSoc, and then the next month I went to Delhi Open. And that
And then the next month
then
you
what
organized
happened was
NCRO.
I was like, I want to go to more competitions, and there was no more competitions. So I just messaged Akash Bhaiya, and I was like, can I organize a competition? And the first thing he told me was, I'm too young to organize a competition. Back then I was maybe like 13 or 14. So yeah, I was pretty young.
Am I
But then I
the
still ended
But
up organizing NCRO.
what's interesting is I think the cubing community, the average age of the cubers is getting lower as we progress in
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
oh, wow.
Like now,
Yeah, I
a
think
lot of the cubers,
someone
their age
posted.
group would be closer
Yeah.
to maybe 13 or 14, I think.
No,
But
I think
I remember someone posted on the WC statistics group that it's like 17 something.
oh,
I
I'm
think
talking
the
about the
average
community in
Acha,
India
India.
specifically.
Yeah.
in India, yeah. So there's this thing, there's this really good statistic that's going on that in the US, most the Cubans are much younger than in Europe and other Asian countries. It's just this because the average age for Cubans at US nationals was, I think, 14 or 15,
I think
and that's
there's a
US.
I
I mean,
think
yeah,
there's a big amount of people in India especially who like do it once in like one competition then like leave it for studies and stuff.
yeah,
Yeah,
But,
that
that's true.
but I
So
happens.
think
it's hard to
like Indian
define who is in the community.
yeah it's hard to find people who like continuously do it for like years. There are a few like you should see like most of the NR holders have been Cubas for at least 3 years, 4 years, maybe even more. But they are hard to find people like in USA. There are people who have been cubing since 10 years, 12 years, like that. But in
Yeah.
India, like most of the people, like I think around 80% of the people leave it after their first or second comps because they don't like
I
find it
think, but
interesting or priority. Yeah.
But I think it's getting much better. Like, there's also this fact that India is a much more new, younger community in terms of years. Because I think the first Indian comp was in 2007. That was Indian Open 2007, I think. The first American comp was in 2003, I think. So yeah, it's a big difference between how much time has been. And I think most people now that are starting now and that are getting into SCIU and stuff like that, they will cube for a long time. At least that's what I think.
Yes. Yeah, I think India has I think like fourth most competitions in all of the world.
Yeah, it
Third,
has
I
the
guess.
third highest
Third.
number of
Third.
cubers.
Third.
Third is the
USA,
number of
China.
competitors.
US, China,
Yeah.
and then India.
Yeah.
But I don't know
And
about number of competitions.
I was absolutely shocked by the number of competitions happening in India. I'm actually pretty jealous.
You should come back.
Because I wanted to be the Indian with the most number of competitions, and now Hari Bhaiya is gonna beat me. Because he's
Yeah,
he's on the
delegating
track to
he's
it.
delegating all the
Most number of-
competitions in the south.
You know most competitions in 1 year or like
In a year,
total most
in a year,
In 1
in a
year.
year.
You know, I want to
2017.
break the record for like total. I have 42 right now, and I think I'm around 8 or 9 behind Akash Bhaiya. Yeah,
So are you
and
the
I
second?
think I'm third. Bhagan Shiman is first, I think, with 53 or something.
Who?
I'm not sure.
I
Who's
mean,
first?
Bhagan Shiman.
Oh, Bhargav, of course.
Yeah.
I started the year with around 22, 23, and I'm at 34 now. So I've had a
Wow.
lot of competitions this year, and I plan to go to at least 6, 7 more. So I'm hoping to have at least 20 comps this year. Like
Nice.
Overall, I've had quite a few, like very few competitions, not quite a few competitions. I've only attended about 10 or 11 till now. And I've been
Yeah.
cubing for almost 4 years.
Yeah.
And I've just attended. I didn't even stop cubing in between. I just stopped attending competitions.
Did you ever
And then-
attend a competition in Taiwan?
Unfortunately, no. There have been competitions while I've been there, and I've tried to register for them, but unfortunately, all of them have a competitor limit so far. So,
that's sad.
because of the competitor limit, I haven't been able to register for any comp yet.
Yeah.
But we recently started a Rubik's Cube club in my college. So, hopefully, we'll organize a competition maybe in the coming semesters. So, that could be fun. I mean, I feel like I have some organizing experience now after being part of CC for more than 2 years. So
Yeah.
it could be fun to organize a competition in another country as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, does
And
anyone have
yeah,
anything? Okay, you can speak. It's okay.
yeah, I want to say, like, did any of you watch the World Championship live stream?
I watched
Yeah,
some of it.
I watched quite
I
a bit of
Not
it.
all
specifically
of it.
wanted to watch Kian Solves. Kian's
Oh,
first round.
I
nice.
I saw 3x3 finals. I saw the Nations Cup.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
I saw Drew's WR average, and it was really nice to watch.
The Nations Cup was one of the most best things that haven't happened since the last few years. Like, it was the first
Yeah.
time we had like a team event like this with like, and it was like very like patriotic. Like, everyone was supporting their nations, and it was
Yeah.
like Australia versus USA. It wasn't like Felix Zemlek versus Patrick Pons. It was like the battle of the countries, like a real world championship, like
And
Olympics
like
or something.
a really cool story I have about this is basically I was watching it on my own and I was really excited. I was getting very hyped up, and my brother came to me and he was like, "What are you watching?" And then soon my whole family came and we were all watching it on TV, and we were literally watching all sorts, and we were getting very excited and hyped up. So that it was the first
Yeah.
time that literally my parents and my brother have actually been interested in watching cubing in general. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, but this I've noticed
Yeah.
that many times if you've got a good format of head-to-head competition going on in anything, then people get interested to watch it.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
in SCMU 2015, I think I attended, and the 3x3 finals, we had Dharmesh Sahu versus Kabyanal Talukdar as the top two. So over there on stage, it was head to head, and the venue was inside a mall. So we were on the basement floor or the ground floor, and I took a video of it to show that every floor, all the railings were
Yeah, filled with
people were
people.
hanging over the railings, like leaning
Yeah,
over to
I've
watch
seen
the
that.
finals.
That's
And
that's
the
pretty cool.
noise they were all making was really loud. So there were
That's
hundreds, literally hundreds of people who were trying to watch the finals going on head to head. So that was one of the most thrilling things I've seen in a
Wow.
cubing competition.
one of the
That
things
was
that
one of the most
happened.
intense finals.
One of the things that happened at an American com that I organized was it was Silent Spring, so it was a very the it didn't have 3x3. It had all
Blind event.
non
Niche
main
events.
events, blind events and stuff like that. So what happened was we ran out of time. We were going behind schedule, so we ended up doing square one finals outside the venue in a cafe. And basically what it was basically a cafe, and they let us sit there, and it was open, so the window was open and people could see from outside, and literally people were doing square one finals, and there was Brandon Lynn and all those fast people, there was Daniel Carnock, so everyone literally lined up in front of the cafe and they were recording us solve.
Wow.
It was pretty cool.
Is that allowed according to WCA regulations? Can you change
It
the
happened.
venue in the middle of the competition?
I mean,
It happened, if I'm not wrong,
it was
in
it was a
Just
huge
outside.
debate, but the WCA ended up approving it because it was the same conditions because we were inside the same building. So
Okay.
that's why it was approved. We didn't switch venues. We didn't basically go outside. The lighting and everything else was the same because the building was the same. So yeah.
But normally, I would imagine that's something which the regulations would not allow, that you change
Yeah.
the venue.
Oh,
Because
yeah,
what
yeah.
if there are competitors who leave after the second round and they come back for the finals and they can't find the venue? So that could have
Oh,
caused a problem for
I
them.
think we had all 12 people in finals, so that's I think I don't think that's a problem. I think the problem with WCA saying no to this is when people had staff rounds in a different place. So you had staff rounds at another venue, and then you had the normal competition at another place. That's not allowed because you're doing the same round and different people are getting different venues, which is wrong. But in general, I
makes
think
sense.
that's allowed. Yeah.
Speaking of competitions, the next capital cubing competition coming up is Lord of the Minks this September. As is evident from the name, it's going to be a Lord of the Rings themed competition with lots of interesting things going on. So we hope to see a lot of you there. Till then, see you next time at the next CC podcast.